So hello and hi everybody. Welcome on our next webinar. My name is Martin, Head of Product here in the Product Fruits. And nice to see you all, a lot of familiar faces. Thank you, Nancy. I'm much better. Last time the webinar was a little bit funny. I was a little bit flu. Actually, I had a COVID. So as I find out later on. So yeah, but we still managed, and I hope that you still like the previous webinar. I think it was packed by information. So yeah, we made it together through. And yeah, today's webinar. What about today's webinar? Today's webinar is actually our latest in current series, which is focused heavily on Alvin and AI. It doesn't mean it's latest, but there'll be maybe some short break from the webinars, and then we will see which topics you're interested in most, and we take it from there. But still, we have today's webinar in front of us. Very important one, very heavily asked for one, because it's focused a lot on kind of hands-on approach, how to actually optimize the articles and content for AI and for Alvin. So it will be very practical. There's just very little theory actually. And then I have a demo again, which we can discuss together, and I'll show you specific examples, how to do that, how to think about it. And again, hopefully it will be very useful for you, how to start think about the content, ready for AI, and how we also supporting you to get it there and make it for you easier to moderate and manage this content. So let's jump right in. Again, one more note. Again, Adam, Dana, all familiar faces from our team are in the chat, so don't worry to ask questions along the way as well. And of course, I'll answer personally some questions along the way, and also at the end. So don't worry to ask those in advance or prepare some questions. So as mentioned, today it's again about the knowledge base, but mostly about, again, authoring and editing the individual articles and the content. So let's start here. Yeah, this is the agenda, just 3 points, nothing crazy there. So simply enough, just quick recap, why quality of resources or sources matter, and how it fits to the framework which I presented to you over the past webinars. AI-ready editor and demo and writing the articles. This is basically the meat of today's webinar. And then supercharge your knowledge base. There's a couple of notes regarding to APIs, which we are actually launched 2 weeks ago. In matter of how to get the content to our knowledge base actually, and how make your life easier if you have much more content to manage and to manage in your systems. Because I know that, of course, you kind of different size clients, which we have here on the call, but all of you definitely have multiple data sources, right? Not just one. So this is how we want to help you. So let's jump in right now. So this is, I want to just frame today's discussion webinar a little bit. Okay, so this is basically 25 moves. It's basically I presented you in a previous webinar. Okay, so I'll not go through all of those. I just wanted to show you which we'll be discussing today. So today we are focusing on that author there, highlighted right there. So this is what is our focus today, right? Previously we discussed plan, prepare, govern, prove. This is how to think about whole flow of preparation of sources for AI. But let's focus today on author. This is basically how we want to support you for this kind of task, and for this kind of, let's say, framework part of the framework is we want to give you some AI ready editing. That's the reason why we're launching a new version of early access of editor for the knowledge base. And also, of course, easy import, as I mentioned at the beginning, how to get the sources actually to our knowledge base to make sure that actually our AI and Alvin can use those sources and basically learn from them, right? Because as I mentioned at the beginning, I'm well aware that you have a lot of content sources. You have maybe content management system which is outside even Product Fruits. So how we can make the life easier for you, it's through those APIs. So basically, let's take it step by step. And as you can see, the demo is quite quick here today. Is that I think it's best to just show you on the example, right? So again, as in previous sessions, what I'll do, I'll just show you the demo which I pre-recorded today in preparation to this webinar. And I'll just basically show you, no, that's this one. No. Yeah. And I'll show you where you find the new knowledge base editor, and also I'll share with you some best practices how to edit articles. So that's kind of first part. The second part is dedicated more to the AI, etc. So let's jump right into it. Yep. So this is this video. So this is our admin, and I'll just play it for you now. So this is our admin, and this is basically where you find the articles. So this is where you find our knowledge base. Knowledge base is basically what it is. It's knowledge base is our kind of content management system in Product Fruits, which you can use. You can go to the help, go to the articles, and right here you will see there on the left side panel with categories, on the right side panel of the articles which you can create an author. And right now we can create a new one. As you can see, there is a new option which is called new editor in early access. This is the new editor which we're launching. And basically on top, you can see it's kind of similar in a sense of where everything is. We don't want to confuse you, of course. So a lot of things which are improved are actually hidden in background. Okay, so it's not visible on first glance, some of those, because on the background, we don't use the native HTML. We're using Markdown, and it's our own editor, actually. The previous one, which we have been using just out of interest, was third-party open source editor, which didn't give us enough possibilities to support what we want to achieve, actually, to bring new features which are supporting the article editing and, of course, also AI features. So that's the reason why we do it. Simply enough, why we're introducing this editor, just to be clear, is just give us much more possibility to support you in your, in your editing, in AI preparation of articles, but also, and I just want to, hint it right now, features like automatic translation of articles. It's coming very soon. So within maybe next 3 weeks, you will see it here that you can automatically, translate articles to different languages, actually. So that's also enabled by this editor, which is not, visible at the first sight. But what is visible on a first sight? So yeah, I'm showing you here that there's early access, but there is also a quick menu. So we have adopted this kind of pattern. When through typing dash, you have access to the quick blocks, you can search of them. So if basically right now after this slash, I'll write heading will jump in. I can click on it, hit the enter, and heading is inserted to the new editor. This is the heading, as you can see. Yep, you can insert the tables. They look also nicer in this view. As you can see, you have also nice hints what actually individual objects are there. We will insert, of course, more and more, right? So this is mirroring the insert section on top right there. So it's much more user-friendly. And if you have larger articles, you don't have to scroll up and down. It's not AI specific, isn't it? But it's very helpful. And we need to make sure that, editing for you in our knowledge base is as simple and as user-friendly as possible. So there's no friction for you actually to edit, articles, and don't spend time just with formatting all of that stuff, but on the content, right? And there is a new block here, which I paused on here, which we call Elwin Guidance. What this block does is actually inserts a special block here, as you can see here. And in that block, as I've written there, this text which you see there is visible only for Elwin, okay? So what does it mean is that basically if you insert it into the text, it won't be in the preview. And also, Elwin will consider it when user will ask the question. Elwin will see it and can learn from it and use it as a source, actually, which will not be displayed to end users, but Elwin can actually use on that. You can also actually insert a block which is visible only to end user. Okay, so you'll just do the same thing. You just hit the AI only here and click, user only, and then on block on top you can see only Elwin sees that. Below one, only actually human sees that, so Elwin doesn't see it, right? So this is why we added that. Like, this is just a first step for you to help you and to bring more features which are helping you to improve sources and knowledge of Elwin, because this AI wave actually brings a new kind of requirements and new possibilities as well. But for that, you need a proper feature set to support you in this journey of preparation of sources for AI. So this is a powerful tool because it can give you, possibility to steer Elwin without actually making it complicated for your end users, and don't make them confused, right? So this is what basically is fairly powerful to kind of give more nudges and steer of Elwin. And I'll go back to this element much more, right? So this is just the initial introduction of the editor. And again, there's be more and more coming in future, right? So this is just start for us, but I just wanted to, sketch for you how we think about it, why we're doing it. And this is just a first glimpse. As I mentioned, there'll be more and more AI powerful features which will support you in your content and article editing. Okay, so this is basically, this is the editor. You have still their AI powerful features as you had. So simply enough, you can still fine tune the text. You can make it larger, shorter. You can put there any old prompt actually to improve the text. So it's pretty easy actually for you to edit and have Alvin always there to support you as well, not just your end users, right? So we also will improve this over the time. So there's more and more features, simpler editing for you, auditing, etc. So simply enough, creation of articles to make it as seamless as possible for you. Okay, right now, just rename that article so not get lost in it. And that will go back. And now I want to show you here what I prepared as a best practice, how to create article for AI or Alvin, or basically any AI system, in our case, the Alvin assistant, right? So I'll just show you that article I prepared in advance, and then we will go in detail on individual section of that article when I'll explain you the core principles which you will see there, okay? So right now we're kind of switching also to the best practice section, okay? So this article is about tours overview, right? As most of you are clients, you know what tours are, set of the cards which you guide your user through the UI to help them to make aware of some feature or educate them, etc. And this is the article actually just saying what tours are and basics about tours as a product, like product introduction, let's say, like main article for tours, okay? So let's go inside it. I'll just click on it. And again, right now, just scroll through that article and then we will go deeper to individual sections. Yeah. So right now, just get sense, how those section looks like, how it is divided, what blocks are there. But, there's some table, there's some very simple, summaries, short paragraphs, as you can see, nothing crazy long. And at the end, you will also see, some common troubleshooting, FAQs. And at the end, you can see here also the block for the Alvin only, okay? So let's go deeper to individual sections and why they're there, okay? So first one, and you can see it's clear heading, So, and I mentioned it in the previous webinars, what's key is that each article, right, if you imagine as a human you are, each article, if you see just that article and not rest of your knowledge base, so simply enough, no matter what is in your knowledge base, elsewhere, but you just see this article. If I read this article as a even human, right, not AI, as a human, I should understand what this is about, how it helps me, how it doesn't help me, etc. So simply enough, each article should be self-sustained. Okay, if I read it, I should get enough information about the topic and understand what the topic is about, even without not needing to read 5 other articles ideally, okay? It's not possible all the time, right? But when it's possible, try to aim for that. So that clear heading is just beginning, okay? So it's clear heading, product, fruits, tours, overview, right? What this is about. Same as clear heading, obviously, there is a to-the-point summary. As you can see, you can read through it a little bit. But basically, there's very clear to-the-point summary. It's not like 5 paragraphs or anything, but this summary should say what this article is about, right? As you can see, this is not useful just for AI, is it, right? This is also useful for humans, right? So what is useful for you, what is useful for end users to reading that, it's also useful for AI, actually, So this is very crucial. So just put there some key summary so AI and human can skim through it. As you can see, no like fluffy words, nothing crazy, just to the point list of the things what this is about. So even if I skim through it as a human, I know where to stop and say, yeah, that article solves my problem, right? There's also region, as you can see, again, doesn't have to be there. Let's say that this is the best practice, right? So of course, if it's not possible for you to do there something or adjust something, this is just the kind of North Star you should strive for. It doesn't mean that absolutely everything needs to be exactly this way. Then, as you can see, and you will see it repeating along the article, is that there is basically always like heading. That's important because the AI, when it indexes or learns from those pages, it actually, it helps to understand the structure. So the structure is important. It's important that you're using headings. It's important that you're using bullet points. Okay, so AI, it helps it to orient also through those headings and understand the relation of the content on that page. Because I again showed it in some previous webinars. Is actually think is that when Alvin is asked a question by you or your end users, it actually doesn't have to go through the articles. Okay, so Alvin doesn't work the way that it looks. Okay, I look, user asked for tours, so I will look at a tours category. Then I look to the tours article, and then I read the tours article, and then based on that, I will answer. Okay, this is how Alvin doesn't work. Okay, so it doesn't work that way. How Alvin works is that if user asks me about tours, I'll search all articles at once, as it would be one bunch, right? One list, flat list, and through those articles, I will select the most relevant sections or articles from which I will properly answer. Okay, so that's the important, that almost each paragraph here, as you can see it here, is again like self-sustained unit as much as possible. Of course, it's not possible, otherwise you have to repeat absolutely everything there. But even if I read each individual section or small paragraph, I should quickly understand based on the heading and this micro summary which you see there, what this paragraph is about, right? You can see here an example that those paragraphs are pretty short. They can be a little bit longer, okay? It could be like maybe each that section, like audience you see in front of you, can be like 3 paragraphs like that, 4. That's fine. But that's the reason why this micro summary comes into play, because then even AI can quickly grasp the relation between the heading and subheading or this micro summary as it mentioned here. And it immediately understand if it's relevant or not, okay? And this micro summary, again, you don't have to follow it exactly like this, right? You can name it subheading, right? Or subject or subheading is actually quite good, or it can be like heading number 2, so it can be like a subheading. Yes, yeah, so it doesn't have to be, the copy doesn't have to be exactly like this. Yeah, you don't have to name it micro summary, right? But the point is that you have their like audience, and then you have their some shorter summary of what's part of it. Again, think about it also from human perspective. If you have a lot of, here would not be just 1 paragraph, but like 3 or 4, even for you as a human would be actually, beneficial to understand that it's about audience and in 1 sentence what this is about, if you should read it or not, right? Because otherwise you read the text which is not relevant for you. So this is actually important. Again, it helps the individual article and individual paragraph to be self-sustained. And you can see it's basically structure of the whole article. So this is one pattern, as you can see here. Let's go down. Let's scroll down more. Let's go down. Again, you can see the same kind of structure, isn't it? Yeah. And what you can see here is a table, right? AI and our Alvin actually understands table. Okay, so it can interpret that. This is not a picture; it's really table. And again, as you can see, it's pretty simple, straightforward table, right? It's not complicated. There's not that much text in those cells, right? But again, if I skim through it, I kind of very quickly understand what this is about, right? So you see, okay, there's a tour type, there's when to use it, typical length, entry pattern, example CTA, straightforward, right? Not that much reading I have to do as a human and as an AI, and pretty clear, isn't it? Right? Of course, you can adjust your tone based on your brand and everything, right? But the idea is that, again, be to the point. Again, on top, you can see the micro summary there, right? Even for the table, useful. And what's important here, please notice that I didn't highlight it, but here is in short, right? Again, very nice nudge. What does it mean is that if I don't read the table, right, I still read this 1 small paragraph and I learn actually quite a lot, right? Yeah, so you can see how the structure is actually building up here, right? How is it here fulfilled? So again, clear heading, clear micro summary, clear simple table to the point. And if I don't want to read table, I'll just read this and I know very like the core of it, right? Useful. Again, if it would be picture, just to mention, Elvin doesn't understand pictures, so it doesn't have OCR, optical character recognition. So if you put here picture, I don't have it here yet, but if you would put here picture, it's great, put it there, right? Because it's good for your end users, right? But the AI Elvin will not understand it. So that's the meaning why you always, when you're building the articles, start with text, right? Put a text, put a tables, and then you say, okay, to this point, I could add picture. It would be nice touch, right? So put it there. But start always with text. Why? Because even if the pictures are not there in the article, it should be still understandable. So think about it, that your article shouldn't be just, and I know that a lot of you have it historically, just pictures and, just 2 bullet points. It's really not enough for AI, any AI actually, because optical character recognition and understanding of pictures, very heavy computer, like it's very costly, simply enough, right? So not many AI tools doing it, ours as well. So always start with text, and you say you like it, and say yeah, then add some, just do the second pass and say, okay, if I read that article, it's great, but I can add there a couple of pictures to make it simpler for end users. So phase it out like that. Also, one more kind of best practice sharing. The article should be self-sustained in text also because accessibility, right? There are people who are just using screen readers, etc., of course, with disabilities. So think about it this way. It's not just for the AI, it's not just for this, it's also for accessibility kind of reasons. So let's scroll down. Let's move down. More and more. Again, you can see the pattern is kind of same, pretty straightforward. Yeah, again, don't worry to use bullet points and action lists. That's fine. Again, it helps humans as AI. Same thing here. Very clear, not that many tags, to the point. Create a tour, launch a tour, how to do it, right? So again, micro summary, very simple. Couple of points. It's very short sentence there. But again, even if I scan as a human through it, I say, yeah, that's pretty straightforward. What I'll just read the next couple of paragraphs or next couple of points, right? Don't worry to use them. That's fine. The structure, AI can understand it pretty well. As you can see, it's always good. And again, this is not just for the AI, to be honest. This is generally like good practice, is that always include examples, right? Because from examples, people and AI actually as well working pretty well with examples, right? It helps them to iron out the understanding, right? So if, again, as a human, imagine that somebody explain you how, driving of a car works, right? There is some pedals, there is some shifting, there is some steering wheel, right? And I can describe it to you for like 3 pages of A4, right? You can read it, but until you see example and you say, here, this is how you actually start driving, it always gives you a much better sense of how all of this fits together, right? How what I just learned actually is actionable, and what I can do with that, what it means, right? So it's same for the humans, again, same for the AI, it helps. So don't worry to use some examples for some core flows and jobs to be done. There is some troubleshooting examples can be there as well. No problem there, again, useful. Same thing, FAQ. Yeah, this is the FAQ section, as I mentioned. You can have FAQ to the given topic. Also, what I want to mention here, if possible, don't worry to copy the questions here as user asked them, right? Even if the copy is not great, right? So of course you will not put there like maybe typos, but use the user slang, okay? So if end user's using some slang or shortcuts, copy paste the question exactly like that. It helps to match the AI the exact question, okay? You don't have to, it is smarter matching, so it still should match the meaning, but you simply enough elevating the chance that that question will be matched with the right answer, okay? Of course, this is not like solution for everything, okay? We're preparing also some updates to the knowledge base when you will be able to create separate FAQ sections, and if you want to push really almost 100% certain that Elvin will answer or this question exactly this way, we will prepare for that. We're actually coding right now the tool for that. So we will give you more tool to even push Elvin to the right direction. But this kind of best practice help with that as well. Yeah, don't worry to push it like here, one-to-one copy ideally from users. There is some effective date and owner. This is good to have here. I would say it's not must. It's not like P0 priority to put it there. It's just like best content management kind of practice, but so it doesn't have to be here. But it's like nice. And yeah, now we can pause here a little bit on this AI block. And so this is the pre-filled AI block, which I put it here. And this one means that only Alvin sees that, as I mentioned previously. So what's inside it, as you can see? So there is something which is like, imagine that you have a human who doesn't know your company that much, or even that product, like Tours in our example. And this place is like, give him a little bit more information, right? Like more context. That's how I would think about it, how you should think about it actually, right? So to that kind of element, which is just for Alvin, think about it that way. Like I just shared with the Alvin some, information about Tours in this article, but there is more to it, right? And there's more to it, and more those relation, maybe some edge cases and additional context, that's something which you should put here. So what we have here is it actually very clear, for example, explanation what product tour actually is, right? Very like simple explanation, as you can see. It's not like you explain it to a rocket scientist. You just literally by layman and simple terms explaining what it is. Also important what it is not, right? It's very important how to think about it, because if you want Alvin to understand something, you need to say, okay, very often people mistaking tours with something else, right? For example, in our case, very often AI in Alvin, actually, our Alvin very often confuses tour with pop-up. Why? Because when you think about it technically, tour is set of cards or pop-up models next to each other. So for example, our Alvin for our product has a little bit trouble understand the difference between tour and pop-up. Okay, so that's something which you could also explain here. But this is important how to think about it. Also don't, say, yeah, very often this is how people are confused about it. So explain it here. Tell, hey, this is very often how people confusing it. So it's like additional context for it. Very important part as well, primary synonyms to much, right? So simply enough, you can telling Alvin, hey, like if user mentioned this, user probably means the same thing, right? Very important as well. Because as for you, it means naturally, again, right? For you, if you know your product, and not even your end user, but you as a product managers, learning managers, CSMs, and somebody who very well knows your product, you feel it natural, right? You say, yeah, why should somebody explain like that tour is not pop-up, right? It feels for you very natural because you're in your company and with your product like on day-to-day basis, right? You know it absolutely naturally. But new joiner your company or Alvin as a new joiner, it's not natural to him, right? It's you need to explain it, right? So this is also useful to mention. Primary synonyms, as I mentioned, and related product through its features and terms. So for example, how this relates to something else. So Alvin better understand how it actually plays together with other products. Of course, Alvin, just to mention, will understand it partially also from different articles, right? Because when a user asks for some question, Alvin don't do just one search, it do like 5 searches, right? So it's smart enough to actually even this relation synthesize from your whole knowledge base. But this is just helping hand to him. It's like making it simpler for him, right? So that's what you can hear there. Yeah, there's a second part, for example, core facts, which Alvin can use to quote or which can learn from and understand better. Again, terminology normalization, right? Like to better, again, similar like synonyms to be there, Yeah, so this is basically the main kind of best practice, right? You can have a different articles. It doesn't have to be exactly in your case, they're exactly the same way. But this is kind of like high-level best practices, which we also mentioned in previous webinars, how to think about article and what key sections have there, right? Of course, it doesn't have exactly like format like this. Let me show you another article, and then I'll open up to questions. So I'm not speaking that just me. Let's play now. There's another article you will see it's basically same structure. This is how to get started with the product fruits, right? Again, same structure, right? Same structure. I put there even picture here. You can have there more pictures. That's fine. As I mentioned, just don't forget to describe them as well below, right? And what they're doing. Yeah, very similar, right? Similar structure, short article. What you can see that there is a different format for inserting the Elvin guidance. That's fine, right? It doesn't have to be just bullet points. It doesn't have to be that format. Important is the informational value, right? As you can see, there's still this ambiguation section. There's still some sequence and the core things to remember, right? Fixes of common issues, because they're not mentioned in this article. And also synonyms, right? So the core kind of sections are there. It doesn't have to be exactly the same format. That's kind of the point I wanted to make here. Don't lean to like exactly that format. It's about that you have the value there. So that's basically it, right? So this is best practice there. So before we jump into the APIs and then maybe summary, I would ask Dana if there are any questions in the chat regarding to this topic. I spoke quite a lot.
Thank you, Martin, and hello, everyone. Martin, we don't have a question,
Okay.
any question for now, and I would like to encourage all of you just to really ask anything regarding this topic.
Yeah, no problem. I can continue. Just put there any questions regarding to this content. I know that a lot of you here are not first webinar, so I think that a lot of those things will not be new for you. But yeah, I hope it will be helpful. Again, this element very important for the AI. Just play with it. Same what I told you in the previous webinars. Easiest ways to do it. Just try it for one article to one specific topic. Ask Elvin how his behavior will change when you add this. It's pretty straightforward, and then you get better sense. Why is it useful, etc. Okay, so let's get back to our presentation. There is just a summary. Okay, so just put there very. So this is the summary, basically what you saw. This is also from previous webinar. Make every section answerable alone. That's the main message. So there's a knowledge base templates, chunk design, FAQ, tables and images, etc. So this is kind of summary if you want to make a print screen or something. So that's the articles. Right now, let's move forward to the knowledge base APIs. Right. For those who are a little bit less technical, but I'll still mention it because I believe that we have here, as I saw, also medium, larger clients. But just to introduce this, this is just one slide, just to mention what the APIs are about for the less technical, maybe joiners and participants here. APIs is simply a programmatic way how you can get content from and to our knowledge base. Okay, so simply enough, if you're using some different system like Confluence and different content management system, or CRM, any system when you have your documents and your single version of truth, this is the way how we can programmatically, meaning automatically, keep those articles or knowledge synchronized with our knowledge base, right? The use cases are, you have it here, you can read it. It's basically like moving forward the knowledge from your content management system to ours, or keep it in sync. So we can either migrate this stuff to us as you want to use us as a primary source of truth. If you don't want to use us as a primary source of truth, which is fine, but you want Elvin to know about certain things and keep this knowledge in sync, this is the way to do it, right? For that, you need some initial work from developers, but then once you have it, it's automated. It's automated for you, so you don't have to do it all the time. It's just initial setups require a little bit depth work, nothing crazy there. But then through those APIs, you can make sure that if you make a change in a content management system, it automatically propagates in our knowledge base. Okay, so this helps you, and because of this is programmatical, it doesn't matter if you have your knowledge base behind the security logins or etc. You can sync it anyway. Of course, there are some security mechanisms as well on API, but this is basically what it enables for you. Yeah, so basically, those are the key points, like automated sync. You can connect it through API and then updates. There is a single ID, which helps you to identify the content so you not get lost. You can manage a lot of articles and languages in separate. So simply enough, if you want to sync just certain language for given article to our knowledge base, you can still do it, of course. It's pretty safe. You can just migrate the content to the draft. You don't have to publish it. You can delete just certain versions, certain languages. You can even create knowledge base structure through APIs. So simply enough, you can create categories of the articles and insert articles through those categories through the API. Okay, so it's very powerful, especially if you're a larger client. It's very powerful API. There are limits like 50 articles per request can be updated. There's a 10 requests per minute and 1,000 articles syncs per hour, I believe. So the limits are pretty generous, honestly. So you can really manage a lot of content through that. And of course, you can decide which articles are automatically synced, which are manually, created, etc. So again, it gives you a lot of flexibility how to work with that, to keep in sync the data. If you want migrate from different system to us, or just put the knowledge to Elvin to teach him something, but still your end users are different system, that's fine as well. So this enables you quite a lot of possibilities, honestly. Of course, in the future, we will bring also native integrations. So you will then sync natively through the Confluences and other systems like Notions and other even CRMs directly, not just via APIs, but this is the most flexible way for you to get the knowledge for, to Elvin. Because as I mentioned, the sources are very crucial. That's the reason why I discussed them over the past 3 webinars. So this is the key, and that's why we want to bring it to you. So you can test it right now. It's out there. The documentation for the APIs is very extensive, thanks to our support team. And so we can read it. It's really, there's everything. You can share it with your dev team. They will understand very details of it. Very nicely described. So that's basically it for today. Just one thing what I want to mention before I open it for further questions, if you have any. It's a very important one. I hope that you understood as well that a lot of things which I presented to you today, that's what I want to mention here, right? Is that a lot of things which I presented to you today, even the articles. So let's go back to the article here. I just wanted to show it to you here. Yeah, a little bit, yeah. So this is that video. That's the demo which you just saw. But what I want to mention in this structure, right, or this element, this element, right, and all of that what you saw here. What you can do is that you say, hey, Martin, that's a lot of work, right? That's a lot of text to do, etc. First, what I want to say to you is that this is best case scenario, right? So this is what you can aim for. It doesn't have to be perfect like that. Second one, use AI to help you with. So if you internally have some AI tool like, Google Gemini, GPT, anything which is approved inside your organization, even our AI, of course, the Elvin inside the platform, because we have it there, ask it to help you with that, right? Elvin in our product and other, AIs inside your company, they're just, out of nothing. Like literally here, just click there, ask Elvin and say, hey, Elvin, right? I'm creating an article which I want to be optimized for AI like yourself, and also for end users. Like polish this text for me, polish the structure for me. Right? So think about it also this way. So you don't have to do it just alone, right? This is not just, you write, of course, the meat and something which AI will never, it will not replace you, right? But in matter of the structure, in matter of this kind of nice, structure there, ask AI to help you, right? That's fine. Ask Elvin here when you're writing, adjust the structure so it's also better readable for the not just human, but also AI. Iterate with them. So that's what I just want to share with you, is that what I saw is that AI is kind of new wave here, right, etc. And sometimes we don't think about it that way. We don't think, okay, actually, Elvin could help me here, or some other tool, right? So start to think about it as well. This is working with text, and what the AI is very good with is working with text, right? So definitely use it as well to help you to create this. Right? You don't have to write every word or every structure by yourself. Just iterate, create something, ask to improve, adjust it again, ask to improve. So use the AI as a coworker, which will help you to get there. So, I've created those articles pretty quickly, actually. So because we already have those articles, of course, right? They are written. This is just transformation, how to make them more AI friendly. It's not you creating it from ground up. We have those articles in our knowledge base. We're just improving them. So it's pretty quick, actually, right? So just try to think about it and embed AI to your workflow as well. This is also what I want to mention, because sometimes it's not natural to us yet. Okay, so just last thing before I'll open to the Q&A again. Feel free, like as I mentioned at the beginning, this is kind of last webinar in this series. It doesn't mean it's last webinar period. We will have more, of course. There'll be maybe a little bit of break over a few weeks. But let us know what you think about those, right? How you find them, what topics you'd like to move forward with. Not just AI, right? We just right now speaking about AI quite a lot, but about anything else, honestly, like what you're interested, etc. We will share some, survey or something which basically can express what you like, what you think about the webinar, what topics you're interested in more, AI, not AI. So we can then plan another session like this, right? Because we want to make it easier for you to start with not just Alvin, but the product fruits as well. We're trying to make sure our tool, of course, as simple as possible. But it's not easy, and not everywhere we are great, right? So we want to improve there. So let us know. As a next step in the AI implementation, there is a From Zero to Full Launch project. This is the basically one-on-one session with Adam and me to basically help you with getting Alvin to your customers. So help you kind of on a project level, push it to your customers to test it, help you with internal justification, stakeholder management, how to set it up for your internal tests, how to think about it. So next step for you, if you're interested in Alvin, really trying it and pushing it and at least test it with your end users, certain segment of end users, etc. Of course, book this call, this one-to-one session, and we will help you to get there. And yeah, there's also second QR code for the other webinars which will be coming. So stay tuned there. And yeah, I'll just open up to the questions right now if there are any.
Yes, Martin, definitely. We have received few questions, but before I dive into the first one, hello, Mark. It's very nice to have you here. Mark is actually asking us to move to the initial 25 move slide again, because he really would like to make a print screen.
Yeah.
But however, we will share also the video recording in a follow-up email tomorrow. And yeah.
Yeah.
Perfect.
No, definitely. Just one note. Sorry, Dana, Mark, and everybody. Like, if you like this plan and you have not been on previous webinars, it is one of our webinars. I think it's a knowledge base sources one. It's like 2 webinars before this one. Just check the latest the QR code. Okay, just scan this QR code, this one, and it will take you to a list of webinars. And I think the third from the back about the knowledge base, it was fully dedicated to this. Okay, so just look at that recording, because then we are discussing all of those. So, yep.
Perfect.
Dana, go ahead.
Thank you very much. And we have a question, Martin, on you, from Julian. Hi, if I want to synchronize my Zendesk knowledge base with product Fruits knowledge base, is it that way to do it?
Yeah, so you can definitely do it. Yeah, that's a good question. So those APIs, you can basically synchronize the articles and content through the APIs from anything to anything. But as I mentioned, there needs to be a little bit dev work. So it's not about just clicking a couple of buttons in our Product Fruits admin and it's done. That's what we're working on later on for the Zendesk and Confluences, as I mentioned. But your developers simply enough need to look at our APIs and just do some coding, not that extensive, and then yes, they can bring this even now the articles from Zendesk to us and keep them in sync. But it's definitely next step for you. I would suggest simply enough go to our knowledge base. I'll show it to you guys here. Go to the knowledge base. I'll just push it here. When you go to our websites, productfruits.com, resources, help center, and you go with the knowledge base APIs. Yeah. you can either like ask the question directly, or you can go to this one, Knowledge Base APIs Quick Start Guideline, and you can share this if you're not technical with your dev team, or you can read it. There's all of those articles on the left side right here, and those are mainly for the developers. When they read them, they will understand that they can tell you we can do it, we cannot do it, how much it will take. So I would suggest like next time, next step, read through this, even at least the basic one to understand it. If you're not that technical, share it with your dev team to get you some feedback on it, and they can tell you what they can do with you and how to prioritize in the backlog. Because I understand everything is it needs to be prioritized. So I would suggest those next step.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Martin. On another note, Mark is also asking you, if the articles are better written for Alvin, will this improve the response speed or just improve accuracy and consistency?
Yes, this is great question. So in most cases, it will improve mainly quality of the response. So simply enough, if you follow those instructions, it should improve hallucination rate. So it should go down that the model is hallucinating. And also it should improve quality. What does it mean is that on the question, I'll get most relevant answer. The speed can be improved by that as well, but not that significantly, because the speed actually is mainly given by the model itself. Because we want to give you some control, so over the future weeks, months, we will introduce for you capability most probably to adjust the simply enough speed and quality toggle in Alvin. So simply enough, there'll be drop down and you'll select from one of the three options, which will balancing speed and quality or smartness. So simply enough, if you want to have a little bit speeder, but maybe less, intelligent Alvin, you can do that, and you get your users will get quicker responses, but maybe not that thoughtful. All right, it still shouldn't be completely hallucinating or anything. We will not launch that, but simply enough that toggle will be there. And this is good topic. I just don't want to take that much time, but this is important topic. The speed is mainly because of the model. We picked the smarter model. Right now we're using mainly on Azure GPT thinking model. So it actually can think quite a lot. And that's important because it takes a little bit of a time to respond, but it can actually handle quite complex questions. So what we see right now is that users, maybe even your end users, and we see that our users doing it as well, they used for the normal searches. So to the Alvin, they'll just put simple question like, how I start with that. But what Alvin enables you, and that's when the balance between the benefit and cost comes to the play, is that you can actually, we have already clients who learned use Alvin more advanced way. So they can say, hey, I have this and this problem. Can you suggest me combination of the product tours, hints, and surveys, how I should build them and what I should put inside them? So even those complicated questions, when you try them, it will still take the same amount of time, but it give you much more benefit. So that's, I think, what still we need to, think about, that, the value brings more when you start using Alvin and your end users a little bit more complex queries. We have even one user who actually used Alvin to get prepared technical document for their for implementation for their implementation team, right? So they say, hey, I want to do this. Can you, based on your documentation, prepare implementation brief for my team? Alvin did it, right? So then it brings more value and the time doesn't matter that much. But if the time is crucial for you, just to mention, yes, there'll be toggle to switch through that. This will not help that much.
Thank you very much, Martin. We have got another question from Gleb. Gleb is asking you, could you talk a little bit more about the new editor's capabilities? Are you planning to address the issue of content reusability?
Yes, definitely. And this is a good question. So regarding the features, right now we have there this quick menu and the drop down and this AI basically block. That's the starting point. Another thing is it's markdown based. So simply enough, if you literally copy paste from different markdown based editor, it will be almost one-to-one copy, right? So which we didn't have that in past. So it's simpler and less annoying. So that's, important, I would not say feature, but kind of like the parameter of it, which I know a lot of users were actually annoyed to. And as I mentioned, in upcoming weeks, big one, which was massively asked for, is this translation. So simply enough, if you just, say, I want to translate this article to, English, Spanish, whatever, about 20 plus languages we are supporting, it will, within a couple of seconds, translate the whole article and maintain the formatting, right? So it's also enabled by it. It's not there yet, but give it just maybe 2 more weeks and it's there. And more those will come. So simply enough, this is just starting point. We will add there more possibilities, upload files, for example, very requested as well. So there'll be more and more coming there with, of course, AI in mind, but not just AI centric, right? We want to make sure that it's kind of like experience for you to very simply adjust and create and author those articles. There'll be also some automatic, suggestions and in matter of what to author, what to insert there, and improvement suggestions. So you write the article, AI will help you to give you some feedback on it. So that's kind of coming. Right now, it's there, what I just presented, and this translation, I think, is heavily requested. Let us know if there's anything which you'd like to see there, right? So if you have more ideas, what you need there, please let us know. And right now, it's possible. In Alt Editor, what is not possible, the code was horrible. So this is just a nice base to start from.
Thank you very much, Martin. And we have got another question from Mario. Hello, Mario, and thank you for it. Will it be possible that Alvin creates a walkthrough when receiving a question? Of course, yeah.
Yeah. So definitely, Mario. So that's one of the features of the new Alvin, is that actually when you go to the Alvin, and it is able, through the annotation, generate actually automatic guided tours. It's through the feature which is called annotation. So I'll just show you where to find it, but not go to the weeds, because it we might not have a time for it right now. But if you go to the Alvin, click on annotations right here, and then there is a book a demo. When you will book a demo, we will explain it to you how it works. You just annotate your application. So imagine that you like pointing finger in your application, like explaining Alvin what each element does. You do it just once, and then when your end user asks a question and Alvin knows about it in your UI and say, yeah, that's actually this button, it will show, basically Alvin show your user in application automatically where it is without needing you create a tour, right? So you just annotate your application, basically explain Alvin what everything is, and then Alvin automatically generate those guys there. So just what I suggest for you as a next step, just go to Copilot Alvin, go to annotations. You will have a little bit different button here. Just click on it. It's book a demo. We will explain it to you details, and then you can start. Just hit the annotate, and yeah, Alvin can do that. Yeah, and also, and just to mention, we're preparing even build up on that. It's called learning mode. So even then, if you don't do annotations, your users will be able to, again, be guided by Alvin anyway, because Alvin will see the screen, if allowed to, of course, because of security reasons. So this is just beginning. So good question. We are getting there pretty well.
Pardon me, Martin, for interrupting you. Actually, another shot for Mario. Mario, don't hesitate to book actually the call with Adam or Michael, because they can guide you through actually all the functionalities as well. Is the meeting, the one-to-one
it's right here
with the QR code?
Yeah, that's this one, Mario.
Exactly, and I would like to also encourage all of you guys really to book the call with our onboarding experts, and really to go through all the new functions, because they are pretty much cool and excited. Yeah. Also, Mark, there is another question, Martin, from Mark. Is there a way to prompt Alvin to create a tour by default for certain questions?
Yes, and I see that Adam actually already responded. Yes, so you can use the tone and voice, so you can add there a little bit more configuration to there and a little bit nudge for the Alvin. We're planning to add there also more configurability, so we basically can share with Alvin a little bit more about how it should behave and how it should be. The reason why we didn't do it yet is your protection, because added there is pretty simple, right? It's just an input field. But the problem is that if you do it and if you don't use it right, you can mess up a lot of things also for yourself and your end users, right? So if you're not fully like experienced with that, it might like mess up the Alvin's behavior by an like unexpected ways. Okay, so the testing and support there for us is very crucial, right? So that's the reason why it's not there yet. So it will be there. We're just taking our time to make sure that we will, add it there in a more safer way for you. But it's coming. We just want to make sure it's really with the whole guardrails needed for it. But you'll definitely have more time, configurability of Alvin, how it should behave, etc., etc. So stay tuned there.
Perfect. And I think that this is pretty much all from chat. We covered all the questions. So I hand the floor to you, Martin.
No, that's good. And, happy to see you here. I know that a lot of you just went through all of those sessions. So thank you for that. I hope it was helpful. Check the recordings if you want to go back to some of those. Again, always reach out, tech support, those QR codes, book some meetings, etc. About anything you want, simply enough to get you started with Alvin or even with anything else, right? Alvin and AI, we believe that's a future, but it doesn't mean it's everything, right? We still have a tours. Just a small nudge here, guys, and this is just for you because you're joining this webinar. We are also working on new tour editor. Okay, so it will come as well. So don't worry, we didn't forget about it. So it's happening. So it's not just all AI. So we will also invest more and more time to non-AI, products. So, and as I mentioned, share with us what you think about this webinar and what you like to speak, and learn about next. So thank you very much. Have a great day and hopefully speak and see you again very soon. Thank you and have a great evening or morning.